Hey, it's Mike from brew-juice.com. This week I decided I was going to try to culture up some microbes from a sour beer. Hopefully if I can get a good culture started, I will grow it up, keep scaling it up to a bigger size, and then pitch it into a larger batch of beer and see if we can't make some sour beer. I like all sour beer: Goose, Lambic, Berliner Weiss, Ode Bruin, Flanders Red, all those beers. We haven't talked a lot about sour beers, but it's about time that we get into it. So I went to the fridge and I found one of my favorite beers, Ode Bruin from Petrus. Um, so I'm going to show you how to attempt to culture up whatever microbes you can find in the bottom of the bottle. So let's take a look at what I've got prepped. It's a pretty simple process, and we'll see what we get. Okay, everybody, here we go. So it's pretty straightforward. Here's my bottle of Petrus Ode Bruin. Okay, this is a great beer. I love this beer. It looks a little bit weird, but what I've got wrapped on top of it here is just a paper towel that I've soaked in a Star San solution. So just to help sanitize any extraneous bugs and clean off the neck of the bottle up here. You could flame it if you wanted to with a little a torch or like a lighter of some sort, but I think this will work out just fine. I've got a glass and a bottle opener because I'm going to have to open that bottle up, and I'm going to carefully pour out the beer and leave a little sediment behind the bottle. I did look at the bottle up at the light. It looks like there's a very thin layer of sediment in there, so hopefully there's enough bugs in that culture that we can get that up into a growing culture with some starter wort. And so right here I've got about 200 mLs of about a 1025, 1030 starter wort. I just made this up with some light DME. So you want to keep that gravity kind of low so that the bugs aren't overwhelmed by the amount of sugar you're going to present to them. I did put a very small amount of yeast nutrient and yeast energizer in that. A little bit, basically, there's a combination of diammonium phosphate and a little bit of zinc in there just to help revive the cultures. I'm not sure how long this beer has been sitting in the bottle, but it's been refrigerated the whole time, and that I've had it at least, and it's in pretty good shape. It's a fairly new bottle. So I also have in my Star San an extra piece of aluminum foil, which I'll put on the bottle because I don't want to use an airlock. Besides, I'm gonna put this starter wort right into that bottle and use the bottle as my culture vessel. And that's so I have the funnel. So I'll use the funnel to pour off my starter wort into the bottle of beer. So let me put the camera down. I will get the bottle opened and get the beer poured, and then I will show you the transfer of my starter wort into the beer. Okay, I've poured my beer. Let's get into this real quick. Let me just try this. Hold on. Oh yeah, that's good. It's got a little bit of a wood character from the barrels, but it's got that nice mild roastiness as the signature brown ale would suggest. It's a nice dark beer. Actually, it's fairly dark, darker than I remember it, but it still tastes pretty good. And the sourness is approachable. It's not super acidic, you know. So let's see if we see in the bottle. So I've left. There we go. See, I've left just a little bit in there. And when I was pouring it, I could just start to see some of the sediment coming up. So I know that there's some in there. So I'm just going to swirl this a little bit to make sure I'm getting all that into suspension. You know, let's see how the bottom is. See, it looks pretty good. I think I've got most of it up. So we'll just swirl this around a little bit more. Make sure it's pretty good all off the bottom. So I've taken some care to make sure that my starter wort is at about 75 degrees, and I've let the beer come to room temperature, so it's at about 65 degrees or so. It could probably get a little bit warmer. You kind of don't want to thermally shock the dormant yeast that are in there with wort that's significantly warmer than the the beer itself than what the microbes are at. So like I said, I'm going to grab this funnel out of here, out of my Star San solution. It's important to keep things clean because a stray microbe like a wild yeast or something that might be on the bottle will quickly overtake this starter wort, and your dormant yeast will never even get started. So I'm just going to pour this in there until I can get the volume up, probably just below the label. So here we go. I gauged that pretty good. So there we go. So I'll get rid of this funnel. So there we go. All swirled up. I'll put foil on it, and I'll put it in a warm place and let it sit for several days. 3 or 4 days, we'll be all set. So there you go. It's just that easy. Piece of cake. Stay tuned. We'll see what kind of beer we can brew up. Cheers.